Hello, and thanks for being here today. If it's your first visit to this channel, a real warm welcome. This is a place where I talk about spiritual growth. So today I want to speak to you about how to guard your thoughts. That's an important part of being a spiritual person. I'm going to give you several quotes, and I won't take the time in the video to give you the addresses, but I will put them all in the description box. There may have been a time when you were a child and either your mom or maybe your grandma or maybe one of your teachers said to you, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That's an old-time piece of wisdom that parents used to pass on to their children. Well, I'm going to expand on that and say it's not just what you say, but what you think that you want to think good things, think nice things. So if you can't think something nice about a person or a situation, it is better not to think about it at all. There are some places in the scriptures where it talks about thinking, and one of them says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think about such things. So you may be wondering, if I can't think anything that's unkind or that isn't good, isn't nice, what am I going to think about? And this gives us a list, things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. So there are lots of things for us to think about which keep our mind pure and in line with a spiritual lifestyle. There is another scripture that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And that is because our thoughts lead to our actions. Our thoughts lead to the things that we say. And usually before we do something, we say it. We don't just arbitrarily act in most cases, but we think and we talk about it, and then we act along those same lines. So our thinking determines the kind of person that we are. When I was in high school, we had something in the hallways, other students in the hallways, called monitors. We weren't allowed to just wander wherever we wanted in the school. We were supposed to be in specific classrooms taking specific subjects with our teachers. And so if we needed to go someplace other than that classroom, we got a piece of paper that said we could be out of the classroom and where we could go, and it was called a pass. And you needed a pass. For example, if you needed to go to the restroom or to the office for some reason, or maybe to the nurse or to the library, you had a legitimate place to go and a reason to be going there. And without this pass, the monitor would not let you go to those places. As you get older, you see that this carries through It may not be the system that's used in schools nowadays, but if you want to drive a vehicle, you need to get a certain license. And the bigger and more powerful the vehicle, the different kinds of licenses you need. So I can drive a car, but I can't drive one of those long, huge trucks that you see on the road. I won't have a license for that. If I want to travel to another country, I need a pass. I need a passport, and I probably need a visa if I'm going to stay there for any length of time. And to get those things, I need identification to show who I am. So throughout life, there are all kinds of times when we are monitored. There's another saying you may have heard that is, be a porter of your mind. And a porter is someone who stands at the door, maybe of an office building or a hotel, and lets in the people who are supposed to enter, but doesn't give access to people who shouldn't be in the building. If you've ever gone into a courtroom, gone through an airport, visited someone in a prison, you'll know in all those places you have to go through metal detectors and other types of scanning to make sure that this is the kind of thing that should get into this particular space. So if you had a weapon, you wouldn't be allowed onto an airplane or into a courtroom or a prison if you were carrying a gun, for example, unless you were the guard or the person who was supposed to be carrying that weapon. Well, same thing with our mind. There are certain things that we should let into our mind, and we are the porter at the door. We're the monitor looking for the pass. Here's another place from Scripture. It says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So what are we monitoring at the entrance to our thought life as a spiritual person? It is our thoughts. And if a thought that is inappropriate attempts to enter, an unkind thought, an evil thought, a thought that is pretentious or sets itself up against the knowledge of God, as the scripture said, then we stop that thought. We reject that thought, and we think on something else. We don't let it in. Oh, that sounds like it might be difficult sometimes, and sometimes it is, but I just have one more thought, one more quote for you, and I'll read it from two different versions. One is modern English. It says, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And in yet another version, it reads this way: God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So we are equipped with the ability to control our thinking. If we're having a problem with obsessive thinking or depressing or evil thoughts, that's the time to turn to God and realize that we have the ability, we have the spirit within us that allows us to have self-control and to think appropriate thoughts. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today. These are important ideas because, as that one quote said, we become the way we think. And it is as if our mind is the soil where seeds are planted and they generate and grow into plants. We find that in some of the parables of Jesus, where he says the words of God, the thoughts of God are planted in the seed of a person's mind, and they can grow into a beautiful garden. Likewise, inappropriate thoughts, evil thoughts, when we plant those in the soil of our mind and we don't pull them out, we don't reject them, they're like weeds in the garden of our thinking, and they grow up and become plants as well. And that's why we sometimes think of ourselves as a person who is part evil and part good, generating some good thinking and some evil thinking. But we have control over that. And if you'll look at the description box and look up some of these places where we have quotations to help us, write them down, study them, meditate on them. I think it'll be a help to us in becoming the kind of people that we truly want to be. Well, that's it for today. I hope you can join with me again real soon. I'll see you again in the next video.